From now henceforth, this child is yours.
23 years ago, in a private hospital in Lagos, two women gave birth at the same time on the same night. The first woman was Bianca Francis, wife of Michael Francis, one of the richest businessmen in Nigeria. She had just given birth to a healthy baby boy via cesarean section in the VIP maternity ward. The room was filled with flowers. The second woman was Blessing Tunde, a struggling single mother who had just lost her fiancé 8 months earlier. A truck had hit him on his way home from work. He died instantly. Blessing was left alone, pregnant and terrified of how she would raise a child with no money and no support. She gave birth in the general ward. No flowers, no fancy baby clothes, just a tired woman and a crying baby. But there was one person who saw both women that night, Nurse Faith Tunde, Blessing's mother, and she decided to act. Before this story begins, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm push this video to more people who love interesting African stories like this one. Now, let's begin. Faith Tunde had worked at that hospital for 30 years. She had delivered hundreds of babies. She knew how the system worked. She knew when the night shift nurses were distracted. She knew when the cameras in the maternity ward were turned off for maintenance. And she knew an opportunity when she saw one. As she stood between the two wards that night, one filled with wealth and the other with poverty, she made a decision that would destroy lives for the next 2 decades. She walked into Bianca's room while the new mother was still unconscious. She picked up the baby boy wrapped in a soft blue blanket with the name Kenzie Francis stitched on it. Then she walked into the general ward, picked up Blessing's baby boy, and carried him to Bianca's room. She placed Blessing's baby in Kenzie's crib, and she took Bianca's baby to her daughter's side. "Listen to me. This is your now son," Faith whispered to Blessing, who was too weak and confused to understand what was happening. "I'm giving your real son a chance to live the life we never had." Blessing stared at the baby in the crib. "Mama, what are you talking about? That is not my baby." "Don't ask questions," Faith said sharply. "Just trust me." Blessing wanted to protest, wanted to ask what her mother had done, but she was too tired, so she nodded. And just like that, the two boys' destinies were switched. Vincent grew up in a small, cramped room in Surulere with his grandmother, Faith. He never knew why his grandmother hated him so much, why she looked at him with disgust, why she barely fed him and beat him for the smallest mistakes. "You're a burden," she would say, "a useless thing. I don't know why your mother even kept you." Vincent didn't understand. He tried so hard to be good, but nothing he did was ever enough. His only escape was school. He was brilliant, top of his class in everything. His teachers loved him, his classmates respected him, and his best friend, Amos, was the only person who made him feel like he mattered. "Don't listen to your grandmother," Amos would say. "One day, you're gonna be somebody. I can feel it." Vincent wanted to believe him, but it was hard when every day felt like a punishment. Meanwhile, Kenzie was living the life Vincent should have had. He grew up in a mansion in Banana Island. He had everything: expensive toys, private tutors, a driver, a chef, a room bigger than most people's houses. But Kenzie was spoiled, arrogant, and disrespectful. He talked down to the staff. He threw tantrums when he didn't get his way. He crashed 3 cars before he even turned 20. His father, Michael Francis, was deeply disappointed in him. "You have everything, my son, and you waste it. You throw it away like it means nothing." Kenzie would just shrug. "It's my life, Dad. Leave me alone." Michael wanted to be angry, but Kenzie was his only son, his only heir. What choice did he have? The only person who he thought truly loved him was his nanny, Blessing. She had gotten a job working for the Francis family when Kenzie was just 2 months old. She was recommended by her mother, their nurse. Of course, she never mentioned that she had a son of her own, because if she did, they might ask her to bring him to live in the staff quarters, and she couldn't risk doing that. Blessing poured all her love into Kenzie. She spent every waking moment with him. She cooked his favorite meals, she listened to his problems, and defended him when his father scolded him. She loved him like a son. If only they knew she was his real mother. But Vincent, she had no ounce of love for him. Years passed. Vincent finished school and struggled to find work. With no connections and no money, the best he could do was odd jobs here and there. His best friend, Amos, however, got lucky. He was hired as a security guard at Francis Group, one of the biggest companies in Lagos. "Vincent, you should come to the company Christmas party," Amos said one day. "It's huge. Free food, drinks, music. You'll love it." Vincent hesitated. "I'm not an employee. I can't just show up." "Who cares?" Amos said, grinning. "I'll invite you as a family member. Come on, you deserve a break." So Vincent went. The party was held on the rooftop of the Francis Group building. It was beautiful. String lights, a live band, tables filled with food and champagne. Vincent felt out of place in his cheap shirt and jeans, but Amos kept him company. "See, isn't this better than sitting at home?" Amos said, handing him a drink. Vincent smiled. "Yeah, thanks for bringing me." Then they heard shouting. "Get away from me! I said leave me alone!" Vincent turned and saw a young man stumbling near the edge of the rooftop. He was drunk, swaying dangerously close to the railing. "That's Mr. Francis's son," someone whispered. "Kenzie, he's always like this." Kenzie leaned too far over the railing, his body tipping forward. Without thinking, Vincent dropped his drink and ran. He grabbed Kenzie by the waist and pulled him back just as he was about to fall, saving him. The crowd gasped. Michael Francis, who had been watching, rushed over. "Are you okay?" Michael asked, looking at Vincent. "Is my son okay?" Vincent nodded, breathing hard. "Yes, sir, I'm fine. He's all right, sir, just drunk." Michael looked at his son, who was lying on the ground, too drunk to even understand what had just happened. Then he looked back at Vincent. "What's your name?" "Vincent, sir." Michael shook his hand. "Thank you, Vincent. You just saved my son's life." He turned to the crowd and raised his voice. "Everyone, this young man is a hero. Let's give him a round of applause." The crowd clapped. Some people cheered. Kenzie sat up, glaring at Vincent with pure hatred. Kenzie was so furious. He stormed into the mansion, threw his jacket on the floor, and shouted for Blessing. "Where is she? Blessing!" Blessing came running from the kitchen. "Kenzie, what's wrong? Why are you shouting?" "Do you know what happened some hours ago?" Kenzie said, his voice shaking with anger. "Some random guy saved me at the party, and now my dad won't shut up about him. He's been praising him all night, saying he's responsible and mature and everything I'm not." Blessing's heart sank. Who was the guy?" "Some nobody named Vincent," Kenzie said, pacing the room. "He's probably just trying to get money from my dad. People like him always do." Blessing's face went pale. "Vincent? No, it couldn't be." What does he look like?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Kenzie described him. Tall, dark skin, quiet, serious eyes. Blessing felt her knees go weak. Could it be? It was him. It had to be her son. "Kenzie, I'm so sorry about that. I have to go supervise the chefs," she said, her voice shaking. "Why? Are you feeling all right?" "Yes, I'm quite tired, but it's no huge deal." Blessing went to her quarters and dialed Vincent's number, a number she rarely called. "Hello?" Vincent answered, surprised his mother decided to call him today. It's your mother." There was a long silence. "Yes, Ma, I know." Vincent's voice was calm. If you don't return home before morning, I will deal with you, stupid boy. I don't have a home, Mummy. You made sure of that, and I'll strive to make myself one. Before she could reply him, he hung up. The next morning, his phone rang. This time, it was Michael Francis. Vincent, this is Michael Francis. I'd like to offer you a job. Vincent's heart skipped a beat. A job, sir? Yes, I want you to be my son's personal driver and bodyguard. He needs someone responsible, someone who can keep him out of trouble. And after what you did last night, I know you're the right person. Vincent didn't know what to say. A job with the Francis family? This could change his life. I accept, sir. Thank you. Good. Come to the mansion tomorrow. We'll discuss the details. Vincent moved into the staff quarters of the Francis mansion, and that's when Blessing cornered him. Vincent, listen to me very carefully, she said, her voice low and threatening. You cannot tell anyone that I'm your mother. Do you understand? Vincent stared at her. Why not? Because I'll lose my job, and then we'll both have nothing. We already have nothing, Vincent said bitterly. You abandoned me with Grandma. I did what I had to do so we can survive, she hissed. Now you have a chance to make something of yourself. Don't ruin it by being emotional, useless fool. Vincent wanted to scream at her and tell her how much she had hurt him, but he didn't, because she was right. He needed this job. Fine, he said coldly. I won't say anything. Vincent became Kenzie's driver, and Kenzie made his life hell. Every day he would find new ways to humiliate him. He would make Vincent wait outside in the hot sun for hours while he partied inside. He would insult him in front of his friends. This is Vincent, my driver. He's a nobody, but my dad likes the idiot for some reason. I'll make his life a living hell. He would throw trash in the car and make Vincent clean it up. But through it all, Vincent stayed calm, professional. Because Bianca Francis, Michael's wife, treated him with kindness. Thank you for taking care of my son, she would say, smiling warmly. You're a good man, Vincent. And those words kept him going. But Kenzie's jealousy was growing. Every time Michael and Bianca praised Vincent, he felt like he was being replaced. So he went to Blessing one evening. I hate that boy so much, I want him gone, Kenzie said. What are you talking about? Your driver? Yes, Vincent. I want him out of my life, permanently. Blessing's heart danced with joy. What an easy way to get rid of the stupid pest she called her son. Leave it to me, I'll help you, she said quietly. A week later, Blessing arranged for a group of boys to attack Vincent. She told them where he would be, what time he would be alone, and how much they would get paid. That night, Vincent was walking home from dropping Kenzie off at a club when a group of men surrounded him. What do you want? Vincent asked, his heart pounding. They didn't answer, they just attacked. They beat him with sticks, with their fists, with anything they could find. Vincent tried to fight back, but there were too many of them. As he lay on the ground, bleeding, barely conscious, he faintly saw Kenzie watching and laughing with his friends. And then everything went black. Vincent was found by a passerby and rushed to a hospital. When Michael Francis heard what happened, he was furious. He had Vincent transferred to a private hospital where he slowly recovered and paid for all his treatment. Who did this to you? Michael asked when Vincent woke up. I don't know, sir, Vincent said quietly. But Michael didn't believe him. He sent some people to investigate, and what they found shocked everyone. Michael's investigators discovered that one of the boys who attacked Vincent had been trying to sell a gold chain, a wrist chain that belonged to Kenzie. It accidentally fell from his wrist when he joined the boys in beating Vincent. When confronted, the boy confessed. Kenzie paid us to beat him up, and his nanny, Blessing, set the whole thing up. Michael felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. His son, his own son, had tried to kill someone, and Blessing, the woman who had been with their family for over 20 years, had helped him. Michael called the police. Kenzie and Blessing were arrested. During questioning, Kenzie broke down and confessed everything. "It was her idea," he cried. "Blessing told me to do it. She said Vincent was trying to take my place." The family was in shock. But then something even stranger happened. "Why would you hurt Vincent?" Bianca asked Blessing. "He's your son, isn't he?" Blessing's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" Michael said. Bianca looked at Blessing. "I overheard you talking to him once. You called him your son." Blessing started crying. "No, Ma, he's not." "We're doing a DNA test," Michael said firmly. The results came back a week later. Vincent and Blessing were not related. Everyone was confused. "Then who is Vincent's real mother?" Bianca asked. Immediately, Faith, Blessing's elderly mother, was arrested and interrogated, and she decided to confess. "I switched the babies," she said, her voice shaking. 23 years ago, at the hospital, I switched your son with my daughter's son." The room went silent. "Why?" Michael whispered. "Because my daughter's husband had just died," Faith said. "She had nothing, no money, no future, and you had everything. I decided to give her child a better life." Bianca started crying. "So Vincent is our real son? You're a very wicked woman. May God punish you." They did another DNA test, this time with Vincent, and the results confirmed it. Vincent was the real Kenzie Francis, their real son, and the boy they had raised for 23 years was Blessing's son. Bianca and Michael cried their eyes out that day. Blessing and Faith were sentenced to 15 years in prison for child kidnapping. Vincent, now reunited with his real parents, was made a director at Francis Group. He had everything he had ever dreamed of: a family, a home, respect. Kenzie was released a year later after serving time for assault and came to the company to apologize to Vincent and his father. "I'm sorry," Kenzie said, tears in his eyes, "for everything. Please find it in your hearts to forgive me." Vincent looked at him, then he hugged him. "I forgive you, Kenzie. We were both victims, and they will both rot in jail for doing this to us." Michael and Bianca happily welcomed Kenzie back into the family with love. But our story doesn't end here. One afternoon, 5 years after his release, Kenzie visited his biological mother, Blessing, in prison. He had secretly kept this up for the past 4 years. "How are you holding up?" he asked. Blessing smiled weakly. "I'm surviving, my son." Kenzie leaned closer and whispered, "Don't worry, Mama. I'm planning a revenge they'll never forget." Blessing's eyes lit up. "I trust you, dear. You will make sure those hypocrites pay for their crime." And as Kenzie walked away, he smiled. A cold, dangerous smile. Thanks for watching. What do you think? If you were Vincent, would you have forgiven Kenzie and his mother or not? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more gripping African folk tales filled with mystery, culture, and powerful life lessons. Stay tuned.